Alrighty, so today it's time for a top-level match of professional StarCraft 2, and what I've got for you is a Terran versus Terran. Now, if the previous TVTs that I've casted over the last couple of weeks are anything to go off of, we should be in for a treat, because TVT, I guess it's primarily the change to the interference matrix being a little bit more expensive. TVT is becoming absolutely ridiculous. So spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of a World of Sleepers. That will be our map for today. Playing here with the red Terran pieces. He's from South Korea. He's one of the strongest Terran players of all time. We're looking inside of the main base of TY. Now, I do think he's gonna have a tough road ahead of him because the blue Terran player here in the top right-hand corner of the map, he certainly is the greatest player from China that we've ever seen in StarCraft, but he's still steadily improving as well. Of course, I'm talking about none other than Time. Alrighty, so here we go. Now, I casted a game between Maru and Cure pretty recently as well. I'll go ahead and post a link to that one down below in the description of this one, so you can go ahead and check it out after completing this match. But there's no denying that TVT really is becoming one of the very best matchups in StarCraft 2. So, double barracks opening here from Time. We only see a single barracks going up on the other side of the map. This does mean that TY is going to be able to get his command center out a little bit quicker, but he's going to have to deal with his opponent's Reaper harass quite a bit more aggressively as well, but they're going to have to travel all the way across the map, so it should at the very least be manageable. Now here's a fun bit of trivia of Time, okay? I was just looking at his Wikipedia page. Apparently Time reached Grandmaster League on the Korean StarCraft 2 server at age 14. So he's 19 years old right now, but he reached Grandmaster League on the Korean server at age 14. That's insane, especially on Korea, because it seems like Korea is more like, I mean, it's the top 200, right? But it's more like 20 guys with like 10 accounts each. Maybe that's a little bit extreme, but it's probably closer to like the actual top 100, maybe like top 75 or so. So breaking into that is extremely difficult to achieve. Also, apparently he defeated Cloudy, Time that is, in his very first professional match of StarCraft 2 at age 14. Cloudy then went on and reported Time for not being old enough to sign up for the tournament because players needed to be at least 16 years of age. I mean, that's quite a nice story, right? So he defeated someone who was so pity after losing that he decided to report Time for not being old enough to sign up for the tournament. I guess it's fair game, but come on, man. Come on. It's a little bit sad, right? I'm sure that Time thinks back of that right now and smiles a little bit. Anyways, here we go. Looks like the first skirmish actually already went off between the Reaper and the SCV here. One SCV was left behind as well to try and take some damage. Nice move out here by the South Korean Terran. TY actually managed to get the kill. Even though he's technically going for a build order that is less aggressive, the travel time here between the bases and the fact that he decided to keep the SCV around, very, very nicely done. This does mean that his command center should finish up completely uncontested. Marine right now available as well. Once again, TY moving so aggressively through those Reaper grenades. Just simply easily cleans that one up as well, and that does certainly mean that he is going to get the slight upper hand here in the early game, primarily because of the timing of that expansion. Doesn't look very significant, but every single second counts at this level of play. Now, in case you wanted some TY trivia as well, okay, and I've mentioned this in the past, but it's still a little bit crazy to me. It's still flabbergasting. That's a beautiful word. It's one of my favorite English words, okay, flabbergasting. Actually, hold that thought. Looks like he's going to be trying to hold the high ground. Reaper is going to be able to get the first shot in this time around. TY is currently 25 years old. However, and you can do the math yourself, I'm not even going to try. He joined a pro gaming team called We Made Fox in 2006. That's crazy. Now, nice little bit of skirmish over here. Looks like this time around. Ooh, so much micro here. Both players actually taking quite a few losses, but looks like Time is going to be able to hold on here relatively comfortably. Every single hit right now, though, on these Marines certainly does count. But if he's 25 years old right now and he joined a pro gaming team at 2006, right? Now, I know the whole like Asian age counting, or at the very least the way they count like age over in South Korea is a little bit different. I'm not entirely sure exactly how that would play out, but there's no denying that he was very young as well. Back in StarCraft 1, that's obviously what they played in 2006. He used to go by the nickname Baby, and I think for a very good reason, because he was very young when he joined that team. Alright, so TY, he's trying to bank on the small advantage that he created for himself by going for the cloaking field upgrade on that Banshee. Time, though, is going to be able to get his Raven out here in just a little bit. That will obviously provide him with detection. Trying to get the lock on right now is Time, or TY rather, so the Cyclone isn't going to be able to lock on here to the Banshee as easily. That one does cloak immediately. He doesn't know exactly what's going on here inside of the main base. So he doesn't know that there is likely going to be, yeah, there it is, that Raven coming out. Raven is going to be available. Couple of kills so far on these SCVs. He's going to be able to get a third one as well. One Marine going down, 2. 3 SCVs there in total. Nothing really to write home about. And I think that kind of nullifies the advantage that TY created for himself. Very much so, evening up the score. Now, this is interesting. Okay, so normally once Banshees are countered, we don't really see that many of them anymore, right? So usually you get 1 or 2 if you go for the Cloaking Field upgrade. In the time that upgrade takes to research, you can get 2 Banshees out. So usually if you see the Cloaking Field, you see at least 2 Banshees. Now, normally once they're countered though, we don't really see the continued Banshee production, but in this case, it's gonna be Hyperflight Rotors coming up as well, and that is the Banshee speed upgrade, and he's still producing more. Very cool. I haven't seen a lot of Banshee play, so I always love seeing this. Third command center finishing up here. We actually already do have the third orbital command done here for Time. So that's quite nice. Time has already decided the tech route that he wants to go. So he's got himself that stim pack upgrade here coming up in a little bit. And in the meantime, on the other side of the map, it seems like we see another factory. Okay, so it will be another one of those Bio versus Mech games, which is excellent. Now, this will be scouted right now as well. I mean, he doesn't see the engineering base over here, but he does see that there are a couple of barracks already producing units. That's all he really needs to know. TY going for a lot of Marines here in the early game just to stay safe, but he doesn't seem to research, the stim pack or any additional upgrades for them. So he certainly is going to go for the more slower, more methodical unit composition. Especially now with the additional gases here, the refineries over at the third base, he's going to be able to really start producing and supporting that mech army here in just a bit. Okay, so Hyperflight Rotors, it's a very long upgrade. As you can see, it's still not done. It's going to finish up in a little bit, and it's going to make these Banshees very, very speedy. Look at the Marines, by the way, man. They thought they were ready to fight another Terran player. Turns out they're just pawns. They're just being utilized right here to scout for any incoming aggression. It's a little bit sad. He's going to sacrifice their lives for the greater good. Speaking of Marines, though, a whole lot of them right now have been put in a few of these Medivacs. They are heading over to what seems to be the third base of TY. Where are those Banshees? Look at them. Look at the speedy boys. Speed upgrades and RTSs are pretty much always undervalued by newer players in particular. Speed mobility is absolutely huge. Already activating the cloaking field though, there's, well, a lot of things here detecting exactly what's going on. Looks like the Medivac's actually also got deflected over at the third base location. And even though he's got cloaking field, right, and technically this should be countered, he can just simply outfly a lot of this. Maybe losing 1. Yep, he will end up losing 1. Vikings very good when it comes to firing and shooting at the same time. I mean, their acceleration speed is very fast. So Time actually is holding on just fine, right? He managed to get all of those Marines out as well, which is nice. In general, though, the thing that I like most about Terran Mech is that it's so strong once it inevitably maxes out. So TY is opting to go for a different style of mech than what we've seen in the other games that I've casted of TVT. He's gonna go for a bunch of Cyclones right now, it seems like, as well. He's going Cyclone, Banshee, Hellion. Now, he's got a few Siege Tanks, too. I think those Siege Tanks are probably primarily to be safe, just like the Marines surfed in the early game. Well, he's gonna be able to get himself a tank. Oh, one Widowmine, though. Hidden behind that refinery. You cannot see that one unless you, like, tilt the screen, which nobody does. So, nicely done so far. I mean, Siege Tank kill is nice, obviously, but Time is likely going to be the one, though. He gets way more aggressive. So Terran Mech, it's strongest when it maxes out. Although with this unit composition, I'm always a little bit curious how it plays out. So he is going to go for the double engine or the double armory upgrades too. That is a little bit greedy in a way. It mostly comes down to positioning, though. These siege tanks, they can deal so much damage. The advantage though that you have with Bio is that you're much more mobile, and usually you can expand much more aggressively as well because your opponent can't really hit you. So it seems like the advantage that Bio has is that the armies are going to be weaker, but you can reinforce much quicker. And you can also get the economical advantage. So if you catch your opponent off guard once, that usually can be the end of the game right then and there. Jimmy, no! Jimmy, no! Oh my god, man. Time doesn't care at all. Okay, so fourth command center is coming up. There is an engineering base, so he can morph that one into a planetary. Once this is a planetary, it's a beautiful anchor. In the meantime, though, that's exactly what's happening here on the other side of the map. Time is going to be able to secure this position very, very nicely. Just knocking down the rocks for now. Probably doesn't want to commit for the time being. I mean, he could. Man, there's so many puns you can make about the time name. But I'll try not to, okay? One at a time. Wait, no. Sorry, guys. Sorry. He's going to scan now. Wow, he will see that the planetary is going to finish up. If he wants to fight, he needs to do so very soon. There's a lot of tanks, though. I see a bunch of Thors here as well. Well, he still wants to commit. Wow! Extremely aggressive push forward here by Time. Apparently sees something that I did not, and he actually crushes a lot of this for now. Or for the time being, I mean. Haha. Planetary Fortress, though, does finish up, and, I mean, that... yeah, that certainly will be enough. Now, he needs to be careful, right? It all comes down to the tank's positioning. Time does have a couple of tanks right now in range of the planetary. Planetary can be repaired here as well, but... I think this should be okay. Should this be holdable? I don't know. You know what? Like, he's got those Banshees. The Banshees can certainly help out. Losing this 4th base would be huge. I'm really surprised that Time decided to commit there, but it turns out it was the right call. Even though that anti-armor missile hit so many of the units, and, well, TY was in a pretty good spot. Planetary Fortress finished, still managed to get the advantage. It's so difficult to gauge a lot of those engagements in TVT especially, though. I think that's probably my main error when I play TVT. TVT is so difficult. Now, there's a lot of reinforcing units coming up, right? You gotta keep in mind. This army here of Time really hasn't been reinforced. Which does mean that TY is gonna be able to just gather more and more units over here, right? A lot of units are spawning of his, and he can commit to defending this if he wants to. He did send a couple of those Banshees once again across, hitting the 5th base here. But I think the planetary is gonna fall. Yeah, he's not defending it. Planetary will be picked off, and just like that, Time has managed to secure himself a very nice advantage. The dynamic between Terran Bio and Mech, though, is so interesting. I love it. It really does feel like you watch 2 Terran races, or 2 like StarCraft 2 races fight rather than just one. Hellions killing a siege tank, not something you see every day. But TY is gonna once again re-secure the 4th base. So, with Terran Mech, right, you have to be in position. If you're not in position and you make one error, you accidentally clump up your tanks, you take multiple shots, you know, don't compensate for the splash damage that your opponents can deal, it can be game over very quickly. So Terran Mech, you can't really readjust very easily mid-battle. You have to be in the right place at the right time. Now, we have seen over the last couple of months as well that Thors are insanely good. And that's exactly what TY is focusing on here. Already, though, Time having that air dominance, right? He's going for tons of Liberators. 8 Liberators are out at this point. Once again, we see Hellions fighting a siege tank. This time around, not getting a kill just yet. But those Liberators are massive. Having Liberators here, very helpful. The Thors really are the only anti-air here, and they can on paper kill everything. Now, those Banshees, they are still adding in a lot of damage. You cannot forget about the Banshees. Banshees are very much so like having an RPG character that you spec only into damage. They are 100% paperweights, you know? Like, they're very good at dealing damage. They will pick up those tanks one at a time very quick. There you go. But if they get attacked once, they are basically dead. In the meantime, Hellions apparently have decided this battle is going too slowly. They're gonna go and roast some SCVs on the other side. Wow, there's a lot of damage that can be done here. The SCVs line up, and there you go. It's a barbecue. That is gonna be about 20 or so SCVs going down in the blink of an eye. Actually, some of them can now also shoot apparently from the high ground to watch some of those SCVs on the low ground. In the meantime, once again, dude, this is actually starting to hurt so much. All of the Terran army was on the other side. Time was just rallying across, and this is a very basic counterattack. And it completely shuts down the economy here of Time. That's huge. Whoa, 34 workers? I mean, yeah, we have some counter harass here as well. That Liberator, though, will be picked off. Somehow he found the APM to also send in some of those units. But, yeah, that's 34 workers just like that at the cost of a handful of Hellions. That's absolutely massive. Ooh, now I like this. Okay, so we've had a bio focus all the time. What exactly is going to be the follow-up, right? That's always the question. Liberators are the standard follow-up, so Liberators are amazing. I kind of like the addition right here of the Battlecruiser as well. Is the Battlecruiser a bio unit or a mech unit? Well, I guess technically they are mech units. But they fit really nicely into this bio-based army because of the fact that they're super expensive, they're difficult to get out, but you also get that economical advantage, right? So you have some more money to play with. They're 400, 300. They're absolutely very expensive. And once again, this is one of those fights that's a little bit awkward. Siege tanks clumped up really nicely there for TY. This time around working in his favor. And it looks like the Liberators will be picked off. Ooh, this was a bit of a desperation move here, it felt like by time. Really wanted to make something happen, really barely got anything done. Once again, the Banshees, they're moving in. This command center has not been morphed into a planetary yet, so no worth fighting it, because they can just lift up. Banshees only have air to ground. They could get some of these. Yeah, there you go. Just get the Marines. Nicely done. These Banshees, man, I really want to see how many kills they have. So that's 5, 3, 1, 7. So how many did he make this game? Hold up. It's the bottom one. He's lost 5. Okay, so he made actually quite a few more than I realized. I really do think that they have been worth very nicely, or they've been worth their weight very nicely. This drop down managed to sneak in, and this can deal a lot of damage. He's in the soft underbelly here of the red Terran player. All of the Medivacs are gone, so at the very least he's not going to be able to escape. But he's going to be able to pick up a lot of units here in the meantime as well, trying to get whatever he can. One Marauder somehow, some way, lives to tell the tale for now. Another Banshees come in. Phew. You're down. Almost getting the Thor kill here as well. So, Battlecruisers are out. Battlecruisers are scouted. And apparently, the follow-up right now is going to be triple... Wow, actually, okay, it's going to be triple Battlecruiser and then double Raven. So he's got 5 starport here with tech labs. It's a mass air transition from time. I love this. So we have such a focus here on Banshees, which we really haven't seen too much. I mean, I've barely seen this. I know that Maru used to do this for a little bit, but it really is not super common. And right now we do have a transition as well towards a lot of those Ravens. So Ravens are powerful, especially with the Corvid reactor. Primarily when it comes to shutting down other units, right? Anti-armor missile is nice, but if you can shut down, I guess, like, well, any of the anti-air here, so if you can shut down the Thors with the interference matrix, the Battlecruisers will have free reign. Battlecruisers have incredibly good air-to-ground. They're not very, very good, though, at air-to-air, so these Vikings from TY are super helpful, too. Let's see how this goes. Is there enough anti-air right now, actually, for time? I mean, I'm liking this position here for him quite a bit. Once again, manages to land a couple of those Yamato cannons very, very nicely. Anti-armor missile really does help out, though, but a couple more Thors come in from the back as well. Looks like the Vikings of time are going to be able to shut down most of those Vikings from his opponent. Another Battlecruiser right now spawns as well. Those Thors, though, dealing so much damage. SCVs right now pulled off the mineral line to repair as much of this flying Terran army as possible. Time is making pretty much like an all-air transition, nullifying most of those siege tanks. This has been scouted as well, obviously, at this point by TY, who's switching out of siege tank production entirely, just going for Hellions, and then also those Thors. It looks like this fight... I mean, who won that engagement? I'm actually not entirely sure. Both players have lost, oh my god, look at that, near identical amounts of resources, even though, despite going completely different army compositions. Very cool. If I look right here at the production, or rather at the unit step, okay, there's no more Ravens available. Ravens are so expensive to lose. Like, they're very quick to lose, and you really cannot easily replace them. They're so expensive in gas, especially. Maybe that's the reason, actually, why Time decided to go for them. Because if you mass expend, right, which is what he's doing, he's now retaking the bases on the right-hand side, bottom right-hand corner that is, you get a lot of gas because of all of these, well, I mean, he's not even saturating them right now. That certainly is on purpose. You get a lot of gas because Marines and Marauders usually, you know, allow you to get a bit of a gas bank. So maybe that's the reason why I decided to go for the Raven Force as well. In the meantime, though, TY did secure another expansion here as well. He's actually been happily mining a lot of bases too. Once again, getting to the position where he's going to be able to max out quite smoothly. Got to be careful, he doesn't know if there's any Ravens here on the other side. Lends a couple of those Yamato cannons and then zaps away once again. That's the nice thing about Battlecruisers. There's some nice late-game harassment tools that can be repaired up very, very smoothly as well. Alright, so Battlecruisers attack super quickly, right? So upgrades here are very, very critical to keep in mind. Both players are going for 3-3 mech upgrades. So even though, like, let me get this straight, right? This is such a complicated style that Time is playing. He's playing Bio, but he's also going mech upgrades. So he's got 3-3 here, but he's going mech upgrades for flying units. Every single missile that the Battlecruiser shoots, and you've seen how they fight, right? Like, they fight extremely quickly. Every single one of those missiles right now gets +3 damage once those upgrades finish up. That's massive. Units that attack quickly benefit from upgrades a lot more. Attack upgrades, that is. Okay, once again. TY. He's got a few siege tanks in his force, probably primarily here to outrange planetary fortresses for some sustained damage here as well. Ooh, massive anti-armor missile, though, does come down. That means now that the Marines and the Marauders can stim forward and clean up those Thors very, very smoothly. TY caught with his pens down, but he does have those siege tanks shelling away at so much of this bio force. Most of the Battlecruisers right now seem to be gone as well, and even though TY was caught at a very weird angle, it looks like he still obtains the victory in this fight. Time. Wow, wait, what? He GG's out right here? Wait. Why does he GG out right now? Wait, hold up. So, I went back to the exact point where Time GG's. I would certainly say that TY is at an advantage right now. TY certainly, you know, has the more powerful army composition. Bases are running a little bit low here as well for Time, but I don't think that this was necessarily game over. He still has all of his production. He's got very, very good upgrades. He's adding on a whole lot more command centers as well, so he can expand wherever he likes. I don't think that this game was over. Now, one of the questions I see quite regularly, right? So the default win condition for StarCraft 2 is destroying all of your opponent's structures, right? At the highest level, though, we never really see that win condition come into play unless it's like a base race or something. It barely ever happens because it's considered quite bad manners if you decide to stick around when the game is clearly over as well, right? Now, the player who was always very well known for GGing extremely late is Fantasy. Fantasy had this thing that people called the Fantasy GG timing, where he decided to tap out much, much later. Like, he'd be going up against like a maxed out Zerg player and he was microing one Medivac with 6 Marines as if like his life depended on it. He decided to stick around in games for a very long time. This is on the opposite end of the spectrum. I don't think you necessarily want to stick in a game until you have 6 SCVs or you know, like 6 Marines and a Medivac remaining. But I really don't think that this game was necessarily over. Now, if you look at this one objectively, though, at this point, right? I'm pretty sure the base in the bottom right-hand corner would fall. Base in the bottom right-hand corner would fall, and with that, 2 of those command centers get killed as well. That is a very big pickup. Time's bases are running relatively low on resources, but he certainly would be able to make another army, right? I mean, he has an option here to take on this expansion, which probably would be the next assault that TY would like to go for. TY just secured a base over here, so he does have a very nice income. And while a lot of that income is just about to drop down, and TY has the superior unit composition here, just because of his mech army, I really do still think that Time could stick in his game for a little bit longer, because if his opponent makes a mistake, this can certainly still flip in his favor once again. I mean, on paper, yes. If TY places one out perfectly from here on out, it's going to be very difficult to obtain the victory. But, I mean, that never really happens. Now, one of the things that I go over with the people that I coach in StarCraft 2 is coming up with a win condition. So, in probably about half of the games that you lose, there's this moment where you want to tap out and GG out early, right? I think that happens to pretty much everyone. At that point, you want to come up with a win condition. Even if that win condition has less than a 10% of succeeding, right? Maybe it's a 20% success rate if you pull all of your workers and go for one final assault. Maybe you try and sit back for a little bit, max out once more, pull all of the boys, and then, you know, try and max out. It's going to take you a couple more minutes, but if it's a 20% win rate or even a 5% win rate, it doesn't really matter. You should try and go for it. If there's a chance you can win, you should stick with it and really try and obtain the victory. Let me know your thoughts, though, down below in the comment section. This felt like a bit of an anticlimactic ending here, and I wish that Time decided to stick in the game for a little bit longer. But let me know your thoughts down below. For now, I want to thank you for watching. Have an amazing day. Do not forget to smile, all right? And I will see you once again in the next one.